Hey guys, welcome back to A Song or a Story a Day. It's me, A Song or Story a Day. Today I've got just a very short story for you, and I'm trying to figure out how to make the lighting better for the pictures. You can see this time the whiteboard background picture is far more noticeable. I think you might even actually be able to see it in the video. And so what it's supposed to be. I'm sure you can maybe tell is it's a little kid saying 2 plus 2 equals 5 to an adult that's supposed to be the representation of adult, and the adult has question marks on them. They're like, what the heck is this kid saying? And the story that I wanted to talk about was, well, actually, now I'm deciding between a couple of different stories. There's a story where I've lied in the past, and maybe that's probably better. Maybe I'll tell two stories today. I know technically our channel is called, well, my channel. It's not your channel. It could be your channel if you bought it from me for an exorbitant price. But for now, it's my channel. And normally on my channel, I'll do one story or song. Although that's already been not true. Sometimes I've told more than one story already, so really this is no different. Anyways, the point is maybe I'll tell two stories today. One is I wanted to just talk about a time that I've lied in the past. And I remember it very clearly. It's literally something that has been burned into my memory, and it's just a very short memory. I can't remember too much before and after it, but I do remember when it happened. And basically, there was a plate that was sitting on the edge of a table, and I mean, I knocked it over. I think I was maybe probably close to 12, maybe 11. I was fairly young, not super young, but fairly young. And I knocked this thing over, and I just refused to take responsibility for it. Right? I told my parents, well, no, it wasn't me. It might have been the wind. I mean, it was close to the edge, like very close to the edge, but I didn't knock it over. Like it was fine, and then it fell over, right? And I absolutely refused to take responsibility. And my my dad was fairly upset. He was partially upset because the plate had been knocked over and was now shattered, but he was probably far more upset, and he said this, so that's why I'm assuming it's probably how he felt. But he was far more upset because was lying so blatantly to his face. And when I think back to it, I wonder what it was that made me want to lie. Was it because I wanted to escape responsibility? I mean, I said that initially, maybe that's part of it. I just don't want to take responsibility for it. And the other aspect of it is, I probably just wanted the ability for my parents to believe me. I mean, part of it might be just I believe that my parents will believe me if I tell them something, even if it's outlandish. And I think maybe as a kid, you believe things about people, you believe things about yourself, you believe things about the world that probably aren't exactly true to reality. I mean, kids are very imaginative. And so I think it's easy for us to tell lies because, well, not us. I'm not a kid anymore. I was a kid once upon a time. It was easy for me then as a kid to tell lies in some ways because it's like, okay, well, this is believable, right? Yeah, the wind could have knocked it over. That's completely reasonable. Even though we know, looking back, obviously, that's not a very reasonable thing. I guess kids have like a looser sense of reality, or they have a more vivid imagination, and so they believe more things are possible. And I think that's one side of it. But like I said, I think the other side of it is just because we believe that, well, people will believe us. That we don't have any reason to lie, that our parents, our family, siblings, our friends will believe the things that we tell them. And I remember I used to say the most ridiculous, outlandish things as a kid to sort of gain respect or to look cool in certain ways. And it's very interesting. I mean, in some ways, adults still do that, right? They still tell lies that maybe not lies, but they say untruths that maybe don't quite show what is real. I mean, something similar is, for example, taking photos with a certain angle, right? Or even catfishing people. I mean, there are interesting ways that adults tell lies, and it's not just that. There's obviously many other ways, but those are just some that came to the top of my head. Anyways, uh, I don't really know why I brought that story up. I guess it's interesting that was something that I did. Nowadays, now that I'm a bit older, I refuse to lie. I do my best not to lie whatsoever. I don't. That doesn't mean I say everything, of course. I still censor myself. I still decide whether or not it's appropriate to say something. But generally speaking, I almost always tell the truth. And if people ask me something, I try to be a straight shooter and I just say what it is that happened or what it is that I believe, and I try not to beat around the bush too much. Because that's a completely different story. Now, another story that I did want to tell, just because it's kind of cute, is a story about another person lying. This was a little bit more recent, maybe like 8 years ago. I was still an adult. I'm an adult now, even if it doesn't look like it at times. But I was an adult, and I had a cousin come over, like not really a nephew, but like nephew maybe once or twice removed. And he was very young. He was about 7 or 8. And what had happened was I and my brother were in a room. This room, in fact. We were in this very room. And all of a sudden, the printer turned on. And we knew that the only reason it would turn on is because someone had touched it. And lo and behold, there the nephew was, and he said, "No, it wasn't me." And that just instantly reminded me of the time that I said, "No, it was the wind that knocked the plate over." And, I was trying to be nice and I was trying to be empathetic, and I was saying, "Well, if it wasn't you, who did it?" And he said, "Well, your cat did it." We have a cat, by the way, a black cat. Well, we have more than one cat. But anyways, we have a cat. And he said, "The black cat did it." And I was like, "No, she didn't." My brother was like, "No, no, she didn't. It was you. Why are you lying?" And then as we said that, he was just laughing. Like, he literally started laughing at our accusations towards him. And we were telling him, like, "Look, it's not good to lie, etc." And he was like, "No, it really was the black cat. It really was the black cat." And it's just so interesting, because that moment I thought, wow, like, why do kids lie like this? Like, what's the point, Because, like, there's no way the cat could have turned on the printer. Like, it requires someone to touch it in a certain way, and it's just the oddest thing. Now, the black cat was in the room, but there was no way that she was the one that turned it on, right? Fast forward, like, maybe about a year or so, and my brother and I were again in the same room, and all of a sudden the printer turns on. And we go over there and look, and lo and behold, our black cat is crawling all over the printer, and, well, clearly she must have turned it on somehow. Now, I'm not saying that means our nephew didn't lie or anything like that, but I guess kind of just a funny story. It probably would have been funnier if I focused on that story instead of rambling this entire time, but I hope you enjoyed the story nonetheless. One about lying, which I really don't know why I thought of all of a sudden, and the other about, well, maybe kids aren't always just imagining things with their fantastic minds that they have, but, incredible things do happen. Maybe it was the wind, maybe it was a cat. Who knows? But that's all I got for you today, and I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.